Hello, I'm actually talking about something that isn't Alton Towers related today. Shock, I know. I'm looking at the history of the area where Thorpe Park sits, from as far back as I could find to 1979 when it first opened, so I hope you enjoy. Thorpe is a village where there was said to be settlements from Roman times as well as Iron and Bronze Ages, and considering the Bronze Age lasted from 3300 to 1200 BC, the Iron Age was 800 BC to 43 AD, and the Roman Empire fell in 476 AD. In short, this was quite a long time ago on all three counts, and certainly a good few thousand years. Now, the Domesday Book was a survey of England, and Thorpe was recorded in this in 1086, but it was recorded as Torp, T-O-R-P, which to me just sounds really cute, Torp. Now, the name Monk's Walk might sound familiar to you, this of course being the footpath that runs behind the theme park right next to Hyperia. From the church in Thorpe, Monk's Walk goes all the way past the theme park to where Chertsey Abbey used to be, which is now just ruins. Now, Chertsey Abbey, where the monks used to hang out, did used to own Thorpe until the Reformation, which happened in 1558. So, in short, the Reformation was a religious division, if you like, of Western Christianity into Catholics and Protestants, and did involve land being seized and religious buildings being ruined. So after the Reformation, the land ended up being leased out in two parts, one of which was leased by the de Thorpe family, inventive name, who built a manor house known as Hall Place, later replaced in 1801 by the local vicar and renamed Thorpe Place. The other part, leased out to other tenants, was known as the Manor, or Thorpe House, or the house that they built was called that. So I believe these buildings may still be in Thorpe today, and I know that one is used by an international American boarding school and day school. However, a couple of sources I found differed in terms of whether it's Thorpe House or Thorpe Place, which the school uses. So in the 1930s, the Thorpe Park estate was broken up, as much of the land was bought from the lord of the manor at the time. Now, what happened between the 30s and the early 40s is not something I could really find out, but in 1941, one source stated the site was used by Ready Mix Concrete Limited for a gravel pit. Now, Ready Mix Concrete Limited was later known as RMC Group plc and was bought by Cemex, who you may see out and about on the roads today. So technically an RMC has been at Thorpe Park? That was a cringy link, I know. Now, as is the case with many excavation sites, the resources they have don't last forever. So in 1970, it was time to decide what to do with the site. Planning permission was granted, which would have meant the site would need to be refilled, but apparently it could have taken up to 20 years to refill the entire area with soil, rock, or whatever it was. And also, where would they have got all of the resources for refilling all of that? Changes to planning conditions were made, and in 1971 construction for the water park began, but I'm talking water sports rather than fun slides. The site was going to be an example of what can be done with former excavation sites such as this, so that they could showcase that they can be restored and turned into something for public benefit. Now, what I'm assuming are former pits were filled with water instead, hence all of the lakes around the park, and the total site was 500 acres, and over half of the area was actually lake-based. 1971 is also when RMC, or Ready Mix Concrete Limited, formed a new subsidiary company, Leisure Sport Limited, which was to operate the park attraction. The main tagline or inspiration was "The history of the British people as a maritime nation." This is a bit different to the current tagline, "An island like no other," but you can tell the similarity in those two phrases, or the evolution of the park, if you like. There is definitely a link there. Different water sports were held around the site, and in 1975 this led to the World Water Ski Championships being held there. In 1979, Thorpe Park was officially opened by Lord Louis Mountbatten, who was part of the royal family. Now, the park was designed to combine exhibitions of the past and present-day advances in entertainment, and when the park did open, the dome was originally called the Mountbatten Pavilion. The main attractions at the time were much less thrilling than today, but there were numerous exhibitions, some incorporating education, one of which was a standing aircraft display. Model World also opened at this time. Model World was a garden containing lots of models, surprise, of significant man-made landmarks from across the world. and the area today is used by Stealth. In 1980, windsurfing began on the lakes and water bus trips were held. There are still plenty of water sports and other water-based activities held on the lakes today. Now, I'm going to leave it there for now, as maybe one day I'll do another video on the full history of the actual theme park from 1979 to present day, so look out for that at some point. And thank you very much for watching/listening, and I'll see you next time.